Liam had always known that humans were seen as strange by other civilizations, but he never thought he would experience it firsthand. Standing in the grand hall of the Varelian palace, he could hardly believe his eyes. The walls glowed with soft light that shifted in color, reflecting the delicate crystals embedded in the floor. The air was heavy with a sense of importance, yet also calm, as if the palace itself was aware of its own history. At the far end, seated on an ornate throne that seemed grown rather than built, was the alien queen. She radiated authority and elegance, her long, flowing form moving with a grace that made Liam feel both awed and, oddly, unsteady. The queen's eyes were the first thing he noticed. They were large, almond-shaped, and shimmered with colors that seemed impossible to name. Liam had read about Varelian physiology, but no book could prepare him for the intensity of being in the gaze of a creature so alien and yet so intelligent. Around her, her council members waited quietly, their expressions almost unreadable, though Liam could sense the curiosity and suspicion in their every movement. He had been warned that Varelians valued decorum above all else, and that any misstep could be seen as disrespectful or even dangerous. Liam swallowed, trying to calm the rapid beating of his heart. He had been chosen to represent humanity in this delicate first contact mission. His role was simple in theory: observe, understand, and assist where possible. But now, standing in front of the most powerful being on Varelia, the theory felt very different from reality. He cleared his throat, hoping to appear confident despite the nerves knotting his stomach. The queen inclined her head slightly, a gesture that, while subtle, carried the weight of command. Liam remembered a line from his training: "Politeness is universal, but humor is uniquely human." An idea struck him. Perhaps, just perhaps, a little human humor could lighten the tension and create a connection. He thought quickly, scanning his surroundings, and then, with a cautious smile, he said, "Your crown. It's big enough to host a small garden, isn't it?" The hall went silent. Even the shifting lights of the palace seemed to pause. Liam's heart sank. He had expected a chuckle at best, a polite nod at worst. Instead, he faced an unbroken moment of stillness. The queen's eyes, previously full of curiosity, now seemed to examine him in ways that felt like she was peering into his very thoughts. Liam wanted to disappear behind the nearest pillar, but he couldn't move. Then, unexpectedly, a sound filled the hall. It started softly, almost a ripple of vibration, and then grew into a rich melodic laugh. Liam froze, unsure if he had imagined it until he felt the warmth of the sound washing over him. The queen laughed, a deep, resonant sound that seemed to resonate in every corner of the grand hall. Her lips curved in an expression that was almost human in its amusement, and yet entirely alien. Liam blinked, amazed. He had made the most audacious joke possible, and instead of anger or offense, she had laughed. The tension in the room broke like a dam. The council members exchanged astonished glances, whispering among themselves in the soft, musical Varelian language. Liam could not understand the words, but their expressions told him everything he needed to know. The queen's reaction had been unexpected, unprecedented. In that moment, he realized that humans might possess something other species could not predict: an unpredictable charm, a spark of creativity and wit that even the most disciplined civilizations found disarming. The queen's laughter subsided gradually, and she leaned forward slightly, her gaze still on him but now softened. "You are unlike any human I have heard of," she said, her voice smooth and flowing like liquid glass. Liam struggled to respond, aware that every word he chose would carry weight. Finally, he managed a nervous but sincere, "I just wanted to make you smile, Your Majesty." She considered him for a long moment and then inclined her head in acknowledgement. "You have succeeded," she replied. "It is rare for a human to attempt such boldness. I admire it." Liam felt a rush of relief and pride. A joke, something so small, so simple, had bridged a gap that words, diplomacy, and strategy might have taken weeks to accomplish. As he was escorted from the throne room, Liam noticed that the palace staff were now watching him with new eyes. Some smiled subtly, others nodded respectfully. It was clear that a single act of human unpredictability had left a mark. Liam realized, with a mixture of astonishment and excitement, that humans had more power than he had ever imagined, not just in technology, but in personality, humor, and courage. Walking through the glowing corridors, Liam felt a strange warmth of possibility. This was only the beginning. A single joke had changed the atmosphere of the palace, and perhaps even the Queen's perception of humanity. He wondered what other surprises humans could offer, what other bridges could be built with a combination of boldness and wit. In that moment, standing among alien splendor and centuries of tradition, Liam felt the quiet but undeniable pride of being human, and he knew that this encounter might shape not only his destiny, but the future of human and Varelian relations. After the unforgettable audience with the alien queen, Liam was led through the palace corridors to a smaller, quieter hall. The walls here glimmered softly in green and gold, and the air smelled faintly of the strange alien flora that grew in hidden gardens throughout the palace. Unlike the grandeur of the throne room, this place felt personal, almost intimate. Liam's heart still raced from the queen's laughter and the way her eyes had studied him. He couldn't quite believe that a single bold joke had transformed the icy tension into curiosity and even amusement. The queen herself arrived shortly after, her movements calm and deliberate. She did not sit on a throne this time, but walked beside Liam, guiding him through the hall. There was no audience, no council watching, just the two of them, an alien monarch and a human engineer walking together in a palace older than any human city. Liam was acutely aware of how unusual this was. Varelians, he had learned, rarely permitted outsiders such freedom, especially humans. Yet here he was, speaking casually with one of the most powerful beings in the galaxy. "You are brave, human," the queen said, her voice calm but carrying the weight of authority. "Most would never risk offending me, even unintentionally." Liam swallowed, trying to keep his nerves from showing. I suppose I hoped that a little humor might make things easier," he admitted. "I never expected it would actually work." The queen's laughter came again, quieter this time, like a ripple of silver water. "It worked because it was human," she said. "Your species sees the universe in ways my people often cannot. You are unpredictable, creative, and sometimes foolish. But there is power in that foolishness." Liam smiled, feeling a strange mixture of pride and relief. "If foolishness is powerful, then humans might be more dangerous than you think," he said lightly. The queen glanced at him, and for a moment, he thought he saw a flicker of genuine amusement in her eyes. They walked into a small garden hall, where plants with translucent leaves swayed gently, responding to the soft currents of air. Light filtered through crystalline ceilings, casting a kaleidoscope of colors on the polished floor. The place seemed almost alive, and Liam could see why the queen might enjoy this private space. It was a sanctuary, quiet yet vibrant, a place to think and observe. "Tell me more about your species," the queen said as she paused beside a pool of glowing water. "Humans are small, fragile, and limited in comparison to Varelians, yet you accomplish remarkable things. How is this possible?" Liam hesitated. How could he explain something so complex in a few words? He finally said, "Humans rely on imagination and courage. We may not be the strongest or the fastest, but we adapt. We learn from our mistakes and sometimes use them to our advantage. And we find ways to connect even in difficult situations. Humor, for example, can turn fear into understanding." The queen nodded thoughtfully. "So your species' unpredictability is a form of strength?" "Yes," Liam said, feeling more confident. "We can think in ways that others might not expect. Sometimes that gets us in trouble, but it also allows us to succeed in ways others cannot." They walked further into the garden hall, passing alien flowers that pulsed softly with light. Liam noticed the queen observing his expressions carefully, as if she were trying to understand not just his words, but the human mind itself. "Your mind is curious," she said finally. "You see possibilities where others see limits." Liam chuckled nervously. "I guess that's one way to put it. Humans tend to look for solutions even in situations that seem impossible." The queen smiled, a small, almost imperceptible curve of her lips. "Perhaps that is why I laughed at your joke. It was bold, unexpected, and clever. It demonstrated something rare, a human willingness to take risks in order to communicate rather than simply obey or fear." Liam felt a warm glow of satisfaction. It was more than relief. It was the realization that his species had something valuable to offer. Something even the most advanced civilizations might not fully understand. He had thought that technology, strength, and strategy were the keys to respect. Now he realized that creativity, humor, and courage could be equally powerful. They continued their walk in silence for a few moments, watching alien insects with shimmering wings flit among the glowing plants. Liam felt a strange calm settle over him. Despite the power imbalance, the Queen had treated him as an equal, not in status but in the value of his ideas and his perspective. It was a subtle but profound recognition. Finally, the Queen turned toward him, her expression serious but not unkind. "Liam, I wish to observe your species more closely. You have proven that humans are more than they appear. I wish to understand your ways, your thinking, and perhaps your sense of humor." Liam blinked, startled but honored. "I would be glad to help, Your Majesty. Anything I can do to show how humans think, I'll do." The Queen inclined her head, her eyes reflecting the glowing plants around them. "Very well. Let us see how far your species' ingenuity and courage can reach. There is much to learn and perhaps much to teach," her P with concern. She convened her council immediately in the grand throne room where Liam had first met her. The council was a gathering of some of the oldest and most respected minds in Virelia. They debated strategies in measured tones, relying on centuries of military knowledge and intricate technology. Liam observed quietly, listening to terms and tactics that seemed almost alien in complexity. Yet even as he struggled to understand every detail, he noticed the tension in the room. The Virelians, for all their sophistication, seemed uncertain how to handle this threat. Finally, the Queen spoke, her voice commanding silence. "We face a fleet unlike any we have encountered before. Traditional defenses may not be enough, yet I sense an opportunity." "Human," she said, turning her attention to Liam. "Your species sees the world differently. I want your input." Liam's pulse quickened. He had expected his role to be limited to diplomacy, maybe offering technical advice but not leading military strategy. And yet here the Queen was, asking for his perspective. He swallowed his nerves and spoke. "From what I've seen, the Krillari rely heavily on predictable patterns. They attack with force and assume the opponent will respond in expected ways. Maybe we could do something unpredictable, something they won't anticipate," the council murmured among themselves. One of the senior advisors, a tall Virelian with silver eyes, frowned. "Unpredictable strategies are dangerous. They risk too much. Our technology is superior. We must rely on proven methods." Liam nodded, understanding their caution. "I know it sounds risky," he said, "but humans have survived by doing what others would not. Sometimes taking a calculated risk can be the best defense. We could use terrain, or in this case space anomalies, to our advantage. Small, unexpected strikes, diversion tactics, things they won't see coming until it's too late." The Queen studied him carefully, her eyes unreadable at first. Then slowly she nodded. "Very well. We shall incorporate human strategy. Prepare to advise our fleet. Your approach may determine our survival." Over the next hours, Liam worked closely with the Virelian commanders. He suggested tactics that mixed human ingenuity with Virelian technology. Decoy fleets would lure the Krillari into traps. Stealth ships would exploit asteroid fields for cover. Fast strike teams would target weak points in the enemy formation before retreating. The council was skeptical at first, but the Queen's quiet approval lent his ideas weight. As the battle preparations intensified, Liam noticed the Queen watching him from her observation chamber. There was a quiet fascination in her eyes, as if she were studying how humans think under pressure. Liam realized that this was not just a test of military skill, it was a test of human adaptability and creativity. Every suggestion he made was a chance to demonstrate that humans were more than fragile creatures. They were clever, resourceful, and bold. When the Krillari fleet finally appeared on the sensors, the Virelian commanders were tense. Their ships moved in precise formations, beams of energy glinting off metallic surfaces. Liam's heart pounded, but he reminded himself of his plan. They had rehearsed every maneuver, yet he knew that success depended on improvisation. Human creativity could tip the balance, but only if they trusted it fully. The first clash was chaotic. The decoy fleets drew the Krillari into narrow passages between asteroids, and the stealth ships emerged unexpectedly, striking vital control points. Virelian weaponry was powerful, but the combination with human tactics was surprisingly effective. Liam watched as ships moved according to the plan, then adjusted on the fly when the enemy responded differently than expected. Through it all, the Queen observed silently. Occasionally, she leaned forward, her attention intense, yet there was something else in her expression, a hint of admiration. Liam noticed how her approval seemed to energize the Virelian crews. They moved with more confidence, inspired by the Queen's trust in his judgment. Hours passed in a blur of energy bursts, tactical maneuvers, and the constant tension of battle. Liam felt a strange clarity amid the chaos. The human mind thrived in unpredictability, seeing opportunities where others saw danger. Each successful maneuver reinforced his belief that humans had an essential role in this conflict, not just as allies, but as a force that could think differently, creatively, and decisively. By the end of the first wave, the Krillari were retreating in confusion. Their formations were broken, their attacks faltering. Liam and the Varelians had proven that a combination of strategy, ingenuity, and courage could overcome even a superior force. The Queen's voice echoed in his mind. You see possibilities where others see limits. As the fleet regrouped, the Queen summoned Liam to her observation chamber. You have done more than I expected, she said. Humans are clever. You have shown that courage and creativity are as powerful as technology. Your species may be small, but it is dangerous in ways the universe does not yet understand. Liam felt a surge of pride. For centuries, humans had been underestimated by countless civilizations. Yet here, among an alien empire older and more advanced than any human history could imagine, they had proven their worth. He realized that this battle was not just about defeating the Krillari. It was about showing that humans could stand as equals, capable of shaping events, inspiring allies, and surviving where others might fail. And somewhere deep in his mind, Liam knew that this was only the beginning. The true potential of humans in the galaxy was just starting to be seen, and he was part of it. The battle against the Krillari fleet continued to rage in the vastness of space. Liam found himself in the Varelian Command Center, a room filled with glowing holographic displays and the low hum of energy shields. The walls pulsed with information, showing the positions of ships, energy levels, and enemy movements in real time. Though he was far from his home on Earth, Liam felt strangely at ease. He had learned to trust human intuition, and now he had to trust that intuition in the midst of an interstellar battle. The Varelian commanders were tense. Every decision was calculated, precise, and rooted in centuries of experience. Yet Liam noticed a rigidity in their thinking, a reliance on the patterns they knew well. He spoke quickly, pointing out weaknesses the Krillari might not anticipate. If we split the fleet into smaller units and strike from multiple angles at once, they won't be able to predict our next move, he suggested. Then we can regroup at the edge of the asteroid field for a surprise counterattack. Some of the commanders hesitated. It is risky, one said, his silver eyes narrowing. The enemy may overwhelm isolated units before they can regroup. Liam nodded. Yes, it is risky, but the Krillari will expect the predictable. They do not account for unusual strategies. We have the advantage if we act differently. The Queen's calm voice cut through the tension. Implement the human's plan. I trust his insight. The words carried authority, and the commanders adjusted their positions, though some exchanged uneasy glances. Liam felt a surge of responsibility. The Queen's trust was powerful. It inspired confidence not only in him but also in the Varelian fleet. As the units moved into position, Liam noticed the Krillari fleet reacting cautiously. They seemed confused by the sudden changes in formation, unsure how to respond to the unpredictable maneuvers. Liam felt a thrill of exhilaration. This was exactly what he had hoped for, the moment when creativity and boldness could tip the balance in a way sheer power could not. The first phase of the attack was a calculated chaos. Smaller strike teams emerged from behind asteroid clusters, their weapons aimed at vital points on the enemy ships. Energy beams flashed across space, and the Krillari struggled to maintain cohesion. Liam guided the fleet, suggesting adjustments on the fly. Each successful maneuver reinforced his belief in human ingenuity. The Queen watched from her observation platform above the command center. Liam noticed how her attention never wavered, how she followed each action with precision, yet there was a hint of awe in her expression. Occasionally she tilted her head, a subtle acknowledgement that even a human could command not just respect, but admiration through intelligence and courage. Hours passed in a blur of energy beams, evasive maneuvers, and rapid calculations. Liam's mind moved constantly, predicting enemy actions, adjusting strategies, and finding opportunities where others might see only chaos. The Krillari fleet began to falter. Their formations broke, Ships were damaged or forced into retreat, and their attacks became disorganized. Liam realized that the combination of human unpredictability and Virelian precision was more powerful than either could be alone. During a brief lull in the battle, Liam took a moment to observe the Queen. She was silent, yet her presence was commanding. He could sense her pride in the human approach, the subtle satisfaction that the species she had once underestimated was proving its worth in a very tangible way. Liam felt a quiet thrill at being part of something larger than himself, something that could change the way the galaxy viewed humanity. The final phase of the battle approached. Liam suggested a bold maneuver, a coordinated strike at the Krillari command ship, using multiple Virelian units guided by human timing and unpredictability. The Council hesitated, concerned about the risk to their most valuable ships, but the Queen's decision was swift. "We will follow his plan. Trust in the humans' judgment." As the strike unfolded, every unit moved with precision yet unpredictably. The Krillari were caught off guard, their command disrupted, their morale faltering. Liam felt a surge of adrenaline as the final blow landed. The enemy ships scattered, retreating from the battlefield in confusion and defeat. Cheers erupted in the command center, though Liam remained focused, ensuring the retreat was complete and no Virelian ships were lost unnecessarily. When the battle finally ended, the room was alive with energy and relief. The Queen approached Liam, her expression composed but proud. "You have exceeded expectations, human. Your species demonstrates a brilliance and adaptability that even we could not fully anticipate. Courage, creativity, and quick thinking. These are strengths that cannot be measured by size or technology alone." Liam felt a deep sense of accomplishment. He had come to Virelia as an observer, a representative of humanity, and now he had helped defend an entire civilization. He realized that humans had more than cleverness or luck. They had an innate ability to adapt, to improvise, and to inspire others. The Queen's trust and acknowledgement made him understand that this was only the beginning of human influence among the stars. As he left the command center, Liam looked up at the stars, feeling a mixture of exhaustion and exhilaration. The Krillari threat was defeated, at least for now, but the respect humans had earned was lasting. It was proof that even a small species could impact the course of events on a galactic scale. Liam's thoughts drifted to the future, to the missions yet to come, and he smiled. Humans had proven themselves capable not just of surviving in the galaxy, but of leading, inspiring, and surprising even the most advanced civilizations. Liam could sense a mix of respect, surprise, and cautious admiration in their gaze whenever they looked at him. The Queen summoned him to her private observation chamber. The room overlooked the battlefield where remnants of the Krillari fleet had retreated into deep space. Liam could see the damage to both sides, though the Virelian fleet had suffered minimal losses thanks to his strategies. The Queen stood beside a luminous console, her posture regal, her eyes reflecting the faint glow of the stars outside. "You have proven humans are capable of far more than I imagined," she said. "Your strategies have saved many lives, and yet I sense you are not yet finished. You see opportunities where others see only danger." Liam nodded. "I believe the Krillari will return," he said. "We should prepare for their next move and look for ways to ensure Virelia is ready for whatever comes." The Queen's expression softened, almost imperceptibly. "Indeed, I trust your insight. We will follow your guidance in fortifying our defenses and preparing for any future threats. But I am also curious. What would you do if the enemy strikes again, differently than expected?" Liam thought for a moment. "I would combine what we learned from this battle with new approaches," he said. "We can't predict everything, but humans adapt quickly. We use creativity and flexibility to respond. That is our advantage." The Queen nodded thoughtfully. "Then let us test that advantage." She motioned toward a holographic display showing Virelia's surrounding space. "You will lead a team to assess potential weaknesses and design strategies that exploit the enemy's predictable thinking while remaining adaptable to surprises." Liam felt a mix of pride and determination. He was no longer just an observer. He had become a trusted strategist. He gathered a group of Virelian officers and began reviewing the fleet's positioning, energy reserves, and technological capabilities. They discussed possible enemy tactics, defensive upgrades, and ways to anticipate unpredictable attacks. Liam suggested small, nimble units capable of rapid deployment, paired with long-range sensors to detect any anomalies. As they worked, Liam realized something profound. The Varelians were brilliant, but their thinking was rooted in patterns and tradition. Humans, by contrast, thrived on improvisation and innovation. This collaboration was more than a combination of minds, it was a fusion of perspectives. Varelians brought experience, discipline, and technology. Humans brought creativity, adaptability, and the ability to think beyond convention. Together, they had a chance to create something far greater than either could achieve alone. Days passed as Liam and his team developed new defensive measures, tested hypothetical scenarios, and refined strategies for the next potential conflict. The Queen visited often, observing their progress, offering insights, but also allowing Liam the freedom to implement his ideas. Her trust in him was evident, and the council began to follow his recommendations with greater confidence. Liam noticed that even those who had doubted him at first were now open to his guidance, impressed by the results of his previous tactics. One evening, after a long day of planning, Liam stepped onto a balcony overlooking the city. The Varelian capital sparkled with life, glowing in colors that shifted like liquid light. The palace gardens were illuminated by softly pulsing crystals, and the air carried the faint hum of energy flowing through the city. Liam thought about how far he had come, from making a simple joke in the throne room to leading strategic discussions that would shape the future of an entire civilization. He realized that humans had an influence beyond what many species could comprehend. The ability to inspire trust, encourage innovation, and change outcomes through creativity and courage. The Queen joined him silently, standing beside him without a word. Liam glanced at her, noticing a rare softness in her eyes. "You have exceeded even my expectations," she said finally. "Virelia may survive the Krillari threat, but it is more than survival. Humans have reminded us of the power of flexibility, imagination, and daring. Your species is remarkable." Liam smiled, humbled yet proud. "I'm just doing what humans do," he said. "We adapt, we improvise, and we try to make the best of every situation. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but we never stop trying." The Queen's gaze held a hint of amusement. "And sometimes it works very well indeed. I suspect we will continue to learn much from humans, perhaps more than you even realize." As Liam stood there looking out over the city, he felt a sense of purpose he had never known before. Humanity had always been underestimated, dismissed as fragile or insignificant. Yet here, in the heart of an alien empire, humans had proven their worth. Liam understood that his role was not just about defending Virelia, it was about showing what humans could offer the galaxy. Courage, intelligence, creativity, and the ability to inspire others in ways no technology alone could achieve. The Queen's presence beside him was a quiet reminder that respect and trust were earned not just through strength, but through understanding, innovation, and the willingness to take risks. Liam felt the weight of responsibility, but also the excitement of possibility. Humanity's story among the stars was just beginning, and he was at the forefront. He turned to the Queen and nodded. "We'll be ready for whatever comes next." One morning, Liam was summoned to the Queen's private garden hall. The soft light filtered through the crystalline ceiling, casting shifting patterns across the glowing plants. The air smelled faintly of alien flowers, a calming mix that contrasted sharply with the tension of military planning. The Queen was already there, watching him with a quiet curiosity that had become familiar over the weeks. "Liam," she said, her voice calm yet carrying the same weight it always did, "you have shown us that human strategy can be both bold and effective. But tell me, do you ever tire of taking risks?" Liam smiled, considering his answer carefully. "Humans don't avoid risk. We learn to manage it. Sometimes risks are necessary to discover new opportunities or to protect what matters. I think that's why we succeed in ways others don't always expect." The Queen studied him silently for a moment, then inclined her head slightly. "I see. That may be why I have come to respect your species. Your courage is not recklessness, it is tempered by intelligence and creativity. It is rare." As they walked together through the garden, Liam reflected on how much had changed. When he first arrived, he had been nervous, unsure if he could even communicate with the Queen without offending her. Now he moved confidently, offering suggestions, guiding discussions, and collaborating with Varelian officers to strengthen their defenses. His human perspective had become a valuable asset, and even the council members who had initially doubted him now deferred to his insight when facing particularly complex challenges. "Tell me," the Queen said as they paused near a pool of softly glowing water, How do humans find solutions when others see only obstacles? Liam glanced at the water, thinking. We look at problems differently. Sometimes we combine ideas that seem unrelated. Sometimes we try things that seem impossible. And sometimes we just keep trying until something works. It's not magic. It's persistence, imagination, and courage. The Queen's expression softened, almost a smile forming on her lips. You are unusual, human, but that is what makes your species fascinating. You adapt, you improvise, and your persistence can inspire even the oldest civilizations. I see now why the humans who visit Varelia are remembered. Even when the actions seem small or strange, Liam felt a warmth in his chest. For centuries, humans had been underestimated, dismissed by advanced civilizations as weak or insignificant. Yet here, in the heart of a galaxy-spanning empire, they were not only respected, they were valued for qualities that could not be measured in technology or numbers. Liam realized that this mission was about more than military strategy or diplomacy. It was about showing the true potential of humanity. In the days that followed, Liam worked closely with the Queen and her council to implement a series of exercises designed to test and improve the fleet's readiness. He suggested simulations that forced Varelian commanders to adapt to unpredictable scenarios, teaching them to think beyond rigid patterns. The exercises were challenging, but the results were immediate. Officers learned to trust flexibility and creativity, and morale rose as they saw the effectiveness of strategies that combined human unpredictability with Varelian precision. During one particularly intense simulation, Liam suggested a tactic that initially seemed reckless, splitting the fleet into smaller units to lure the Krillari into an ambush while leaving key ships lightly defended. The Varelian officers hesitated, but the Queen's calm encouragement convinced them to follow his plan. When the simulation ended with a decisive victory, even the most skeptical commanders acknowledged the brilliance of the approach. Liam felt a quiet satisfaction. Humans had once again proven that bold ideas could succeed where caution alone might fail. That evening, Liam found a moment to sit quietly in the palace gardens. The soft glow of the plants reflected in his eyes as he thought about the journey he had undertaken. A joke, a single moment of humor had opened the door to trust. That trust had grown into collaboration, respect, and the opportunity to demonstrate the unique qualities of humanity. He realized that humans did not need to rely solely on strength or technology. Their creativity, courage, and adaptability were weapons just as powerful. The Queen joined him once more, her presence a quiet reminder of the responsibility he carried. "You have done more than I expected," she said softly. "Humans are capable of great things. You have shown us the power of ingenuity, humor, and courage. It is a lesson I will not forget." Liam nodded. "I've only shown a small part of what humans can do. There is much more to learn, and much more to prove." The Queen's gaze lingered on him, thoughtful and approving. "Then we shall see, human. Your species has much potential, and I intend to observe and learn alongside you. Perhaps together we can prepare for a future where humans are not merely visitors among the stars, but partners and leaders. Fee, humor, and creativity." Time and again, she had observed how humans could connect, inspire, and solve problems in ways Varelians had never considered. And Liam, in turn, had grown more confident in himself and his species. He understood that their influence among the stars did not rely solely on technology or brute force, but on imagination, courage, and the ability to think differently. One bright morning, Liam was walking through the palace gardens, now fully familiar with the glowing plants and softly shifting lights. The air was filled with the subtle hum of energy flowing through the palace, mingling with the scent of alien flora. He had been reviewing defense protocols with a group of Varelian officers, and now he allowed himself a moment to reflect. The galaxy was vast and unpredictable, yet humans had found a place here, not as subordinates, but as collaborators and innovators. The Queen joined him quietly, as she often did, walking alongside him without ceremony. Liam noticed a softness in her expression that had become familiar, an acknowledgement of the bond that had grown between them. "Liam," she said after a pause, "I have watched your species carefully these months. Humans are unlike any civilization I have encountered. You adapt, you improvise, and you inspire. You have reminded Varelia of the power of creativity and courage, and for that I am grateful." Liam smiled. "It's been an honor, Your Majesty. I never expected that a joke, a simple moment of humor, could lead to all of this. But humans, we take chances, and sometimes those chances make a difference. The Queen nodded, her eyes reflecting the shimmering lights of the garden. Indeed. And your presence has shown my people that even the smallest species can achieve great things. You have earned respect not by strength alone, but by ingenuity and heart. That is a lesson Virelia will not forget. As they walked, Liam noticed a group of Virelian officers practicing new maneuvers in the courtyard below. Their movements were fluid, precise, yet infused with the flexibility he had encouraged. It was a reminder that collaboration had changed the way Virelia approached challenges, blending centuries of tradition with the unpredictable brilliance of humanity. Liam felt a quiet satisfaction. Humans had arrived as strangers, underestimated by the galaxy, and yet they had become influential partners, capable of shaping events and inspiring trust in ways no one could have predicted. The Queen paused near a softly glowing tree and turned to Liam. "There is something else," she said. "I have received messages from other worlds, distant civilizations who have heard of your accomplishments here. Your species has begun to be noticed not just for your technology, but for your ability to think differently, to inspire, and to lead in ways few could imagine. You are changing perceptions of humanity across the stars." Liam felt a thrill of pride mixed with humility. It was incredible to think that humans, a small and often underestimated species, were now recognized as capable of greatness. "I suppose," he said, "we humans always find ways to surprise people, even ourselves. We may not be the biggest or strongest, but we have something that matters: courage, creativity, and persistence." The Queen regarded him thoughtfully. "You have shown me that these qualities are as powerful as any weapon or fleet. Your species has value not just in battle, but in thought, in courage, and in the ways you inspire others. That is the true power of humanity." As the sun-like lights of the Virelian sky shifted to a soft evening glow, Liam and the Queen continued their walk. He felt a deep sense of purpose and accomplishment. Humans had arrived on an alien world as strangers, underestimated and dismissed. Yet through humor, courage, and ingenuity, they had not only earned respect, they had proven their worth. Liam realized that this was more than a mission or a single battle. It was the beginning of humanity's story among the stars. Looking out over the palace city, he saw Virelians and humans alike working together, planning, training, and preparing for the future. He knew that challenges would come, as they always did, but he also knew that humans had something that no one could predict or easily counter. Their creativity, courage, and ability to think differently were not weaknesses. They were strengths that could shape the galaxy. The Queen stopped and turned to him, her expression both approving and reflective. "You have changed Virelia's view of humans forever, Liam. Your humor, courage, and intelligence have shown us what your species is capable of. I hope you understand the significance of this achievement." Liam nodded. "I do, Your Majesty. And I also understand that this is only the beginning. Humans have much more to offer, and I'm glad we've had the chance to show it here." The Queen's gaze softened further. "Then let us continue, human. Together we will explore the potential of your species and the possibilities that lie ahead. You have reminded us that even the smallest sparks can illuminate the darkest paths, and that is something the galaxy should never underestimate." As Liam stood there, watching the glowing lights of the city and the calm of the palace gardens, he felt the quiet thrill of accomplishment. Humans had arrived on Virelia as outsiders, underestimated by all, and yet through humor, ingenuity, and courage they had earned trust, respect, and a place among the stars. The galaxy had begun to notice humanity, and Liam knew that this was only the beginning of what his species could achieve. With the Queen's quiet approval beside him, and the knowledge of the respect they had earned, Liam felt certain of one thing: humans were no longer just visitors in the galaxy. They were a force of ingenuity, courage, and inspiration, capable of shaping civilizations and leaving their mark wherever they went. And it all began with a single, daring joke that had shown the universe the unexpected brilliance of humanity.